Small talk. Some of you dominate the small talk. Others, you need some work. Best practices, tips, tricks, hacks, what works, and our experience with dominating the small talk. Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, children 18 plus. You are tuned in to the Loan Officer Podcast with me, Dustin Owen, and my main man,
JC.
John Coleman.
Dio was popping.
Well, by the time this drops, you and I are going to be in Columbus, Ohio.
Turning up.
Turning it up with our new lower family. That's pretty cool. I know you're excited about that, John.
No,
How about this? Free drinks.
No.
Oh, you got a paycheck now, so you're like, I can afford my own drinks.
Even when I didn't have a paycheck, I'd still fucking burn my money. No, that is funny because, yeah, small talk. Now I'm going to have to go up here and meet new coworkers and act like I give a shit about their stories.
You do care, John.
Less.
You do care.
Less.
Well, I care. I look forward to events like this. I look forward to it because I love to get to know new people.
Yeah, I don't.
Like my personality profile is going to shock all of you. Is one in which it says a stranger is just a friend he hasn't met yet. Like that's like a true personality profile. That is what it spit out after I answered those 45 random questions.
How would I?
You know how they do that?
How would I rank, Dustin? What kind of people person do you think I am? You've known me for quite a while now.
I don't know, John. Like you're one of those guys that I'm curious is what I see is what I get, or there's more behind it. But man, do you have up some freaking like iron
walls,
curtain type walls.
Oh, yeah.
Yes, like a therapist would have a field day with you.
Yeah, that's the biggest farce.
Have you ever sat down with a therapist? You have?
Yeah.
Okay, good for you.
Saved my damn marriage.
Good for you.
Yeah, you know?
Yeah, no, I'm a big fan of therapy. I love it.
I don't. You know why? Because those people are people. And you know what? They're just sitting there and they have their own problems. I think a therapist should be an AI bot with no emotion. Because that would give you the best therapy.
Not really, because an AI bot can't necessarily pick up on my emotional cues.
They can't.
And an AI bot hasn't had real life experience, so they can't empathize.
But
I want someone who can empathize.
Yeah, but I don't want to empathize with and your time is up, because they have to go home and they have their own problems. They got to pick up their kids from school and they have to sit here all day listening to you, bitch.
You know what's crazy about behavioral specialists, right? We'll call them that, like the therapist is, right? Sure. They've studied behaviors. They look for patterns, just like we do in business. We look for patterns. We study what works. We do more of what works. We do less of what doesn't work, right? That's what these people do, but they do so with human emotions and the human psyche. But my wife fosters dogs, right? You know this, but I don't know if the audience knows this. For the past 3 years now, we have taken in, not that many, maybe 6 or 8.
Bro, that's a lot.
Foster. So they come in anywhere between 2 weeks to 2 months typically. And all we're trying to do is give them a safe house to live in until we can find them their forever home. Well, we just had this dog, and he was a sweet dog. His name's Jax. We didn't name him that, but whoever had him before us named him Jax, and they turned him back in. And Jax hated me from the get-go. He hates all men. So Jax would only love me at 9 p.m. when I was laying down on the couch, and he would come over and let me pet him. But when I did so, he looked like a dog looks when you give him a bath. Like, I can't believe you're doing this to me. But he wanted to be close to me because I was always nice to him. And I always tried to play with him. I threw the ball. I'd give him treats, but just couldn't get him to ever like connect. Well, anyhow, long story short, talk about like behavior. It's what made me think of it. So the Adore Pet Agency, Adore's the local charity here in Central Florida that my wife volunteers for. Adore paid for Jax to go to 2 weeks of intensive training to figure out like, hey, why is this? What's going on? And my wife said she took Jax to the place yesterday, went to drop him off. And the lady who like runs the show there comes out. She said Jax was well behaved because it's 2 women. So he doesn't really bark and he doesn't like act up when there isn't a man in his presence, only when there's a man. But the lady looked at my wife and goes, oh my gosh, is he always this anxious? And my wife said to me, she goes, he wasn't acting anxious, but a behavioral specialist, John, a therapist who does this for a living. Now hers is dogs. Yours was humans. She could look at that dog and be like, that dog has anxiety. just based on if his tail wagged to the left, if it wagged to the right, how its ears went, how it held its head. So long story short, I don't think AI could have done that. I don't think AI could have actually met that dog and without interacting with it and without the dog acting a certain way, just looked at it and said, that dog has anxiety.
And that's why I'll get one of those little Boston Robotic little AI little robot dogs who don't have emotion.
But then they can't jump in your lap and you can't pet them.
That's fine. You know why? Because they're not naked taking a shit outside and then coming back in the house.
Did you call a dog naked?
They are naked.
I mean, they have fur.
Okay, I'm going to come over to your house later today, Dustin, and I'm going to take off all my clothes. I'm going to piss in your yard, shit in your driveway, not clean myself, and then just come into your house and just sit on the couch. How does that sound? Is that cool?
Well, I mean,
I rest my case. Communication, small talk.
Communication, small talk. There you go. That's what not to talk about when you're at that next networking function. However, sometimes it is.
That's what,
right?
yeah.
Yeah, so sometimes it is. But I want to get into today's topic, and this is a viewer request. It's something that, it comes up from time to time in various coaching calls. And it's something that when I'm teaching and onboarding new sales professionals, I figure like this is the shit that they don't teach in school. And there's a lot of things that many of us, y'all included who are tuning in today, I bet if you just wrote down some of the things that you've picked up along the way, you could have a whole entire course on small talk. And if you have some great ideas and some great tips, I'd love for you to go over to the Mortgage Mafia Facebook page. If you're not yet a member, ask to be a member. As long as you're a full-time licensed originator, I'll let you in. And I'd love to hear some of your best practices for engaging in small talk. But today is going to be John and I going back and forth regarding some of the things that when I did this exercise and I started writing down, what are some good tips and tricks to teach someone how to do small talk? This is what I want to teach somebody.
Nice.
Yeah, where do you want to start with it, though?
I don't know. I don't like people or talking, so I'm going to let you kick it off.
All right. So here's one of my first tips and tricks. We all have an area code, right? And Ludacris back in the late 90s, early 2000s even wrote a song called Area Codes. And that area code tends to tell us something about each other. And that's, well, where are we from? And all of us, that's humans, we have a backstory. And most of us would love to share our backstory if we were just asked. So much of sales is built on trust. It's based on relationship. The first thing I have to do is get someone to like me. And if they like me, then they may want to get to know me. And once they get to know me, they'll trust me. But I first need them to get to like me. And I have found in order to be likable, I have to do less talking, which is hard for me.
Damn near impossible.
Damn near impossible. I have to have a childlike curiosity, which thank goodness, just like being talkative comes natural to me, having a childlike curiosity comes natural to me. And if I can learn or teach myself how to ask good questions, I can allow the other person to do the bulk of the talking, at least up front, before I take over and dominate the conversation. At which point, just so y'all know, for the record, I leave that conversation, I get in my car, and I get pissed at myself because I start second guessing that I probably dominated too much of the conversation, didn't ask enough questions, or didn't ask enough about them. Or when someone said to me, how was your day? I actually told them how my day went instead of just saying my day was good. How was your day?
Yes, that's the correct answer.
All right. So I'm going to start with first small talk tip, especially if you're meeting someone over the phone because you have their caller ID, or if you're calling them, you know their phone number, look at the area code. Is it local or is it from out of the area? If it's from out of the area, do you recognize it? If it's not from out of the area, if it's from out of the area and you don't recognize it, sweet. That's your very first question, right? I mean, I can say to you, hey, John, this is Dustin over at Lower. I'm giving you a call because Jen over at Remax told me to give you a call. And you would say,
oh, Jen's awesome.
Yeah. Hey, what's up, Dio? How you doing today? Hey, John, I'm doing awesome. Hey, out of curiosity, I noticed I was calling a 415 area code. Where's that from? At which point, John's now going to have to answer. You'd probably tell me, oh, it's Columbus, Ohio. I'm like, oh, shit, Columbus. I go, are you from there originally? And then John's going to have to answer that question. And based on how John's answer, I'll say, oh, wow, did you go to school there? And John may say, oh, I didn't go to school there. I went to a small school here. I'm like, oh, but are you a big Ohio State fan?
OH.
Yeah. Right. Like you could see where this could go all based on John's area code. Now, let's say John's area code was local. It's 407. That's where we live in Orlando, or 321 or 786, because now we have three.
Where's 786?
That's what George Martinez's
really?
Area code is.
What part of that?
786.
Where's that? Claremont? Where the fuck?
I thought it was Miami because he's from Miami,
Right.
but I'm pretty sure it's in Orlando.
786?
Yeah. Yep. So,
Do you remember growing up there was just one area code?
hey, do you know why 7 was afraid of 8?
No.
No, why 6? I fucked it up.
Thanks, Dad.
Yeah, it's
No,
because
never
789.
mind.
The answer is because 789. So anyhow, yes, let's just say 786 or Orlando. Don't quote me. What if I'm wrong? I'm wrong
You're
a lot.
not wrong, Dustin. Believe in yourself. That's also a big part of small talk.
It actually is.
Yeah, you got to be confident. I have no idea what the hell I'm saying, but if I say it with conviction and I stare you in your eyes, you might think, shit, he might know what he's talking about.
Yeah, I actually don't mind that strategy as long as you don't say things that are like emphatic truths. Meaning it's like it could be a thought, it could be an opinion, but you say it with confidence versus like you're like, no one's been on the moon. I'm like, gosh, I
still don't believe that.
know you don't believe
I mean,
that.
I know we've been, but I don't. More questions than answers, Dustin.
Okay. But I like your thought. Let me finish up on the area code trick or hack.
Yeah.
Because I gave the strategy of, okay, well, what if they didn't know the area code? Cool. Lots of questions to get into. If it's a local area code, what do you do? Because we both live here. Like when it's 407, I'm making the assumption. Like I'm not going to ask them, oh, well, where's the area code from? Duh, I know where it's from.
Orlando.
Yeah. I was like, oh, hey, I see this is a local number. Did you grow up here? I may just ask someone, did you grow up here? Now it's super easy for me to ask that in areas like Texas and Florida and California and Idaho and Arizona and Charlotte, because a lot of people didn't grow up in those areas. Like I'm sure if I'm in Des Moines, Iowa, maybe it's not as easy because maybe everyone, like not everyone's strong word, but like 80% of the people didn't.
Yeah.
But I just want to get into small talk. So I'll just say, oh, did you grow up here? Yeah, I did. Cool. So did I. Where'd you go to high school?
Lyman.
Yeah. What did you do after high school? That's a question I've learned to ask in that manner. What did you do after high school? I don't ask you where'd you go to college, because what if they didn't go to college? I don't want them to assume that I think if they didn't go to college that they're a dum-dum, or if they didn't go to college that they're less important, right? And I also don't believe that, so it wouldn't be fair. So I just say, what'd you do after college? Now then we can get into that conversation. And every time what I'm looking for is commonalities. I'm looking for, oh, wow, my sister did that. Oh, wow, one of my favorite clients did that. Because all I'm looking to do is get to know them. And in a certain way, I'm a little bit personality profiling them. I'm trying to figure out who they are, what makes them tick. Like, sure, in the back of my mind, that's what's going on. But ultimately, what I'm trying to do is show them that I care. What I'm trying to do is give them opportunities to talk about themselves. That is the point of small talk. I'm giving someone the opportunity to talk about themselves. I'm asking good, basic questions. I'm not being overly intrusive. And the more they talk, I know the better they feel about the conversation. The more they talk, the more I can learn about them. And the more they talk, I can look for opportunities for us to eventually transact something together. Just don't know what that transaction is. So starting with someone's area code is just a great tactic or trick to remind you, oh, this is my opportunity to start asking small questions. And based on their answers, it could lead me to 2 or 3 additional questions.
Well said, Dustin.
All right. So what else have you had success with? I like your confidence. Like you said, look, when you have these conversations, speak with confidence.
Yeah, don't be all goopy and look down and have eyes wandering and slumpy shoulders. Stand proud.
Have you ever struggled, John, with not being confident in conversation?
I mean, I think, yeah, like when you're younger and stuff, you really try to find your way. But as I've gotten older, I've become, I think, better at it. Not by practice, just because people suck and I don't really care about their opinions or how they feel. So it's much easier to articulate myself when I don't care about.
Would that be like a Jedi mind trick that you would try to teach to people? Like let's assume most people care to a certain degree.
Yeah, most people do.
But is there a certain mindset that you would remind them?
Yeah, I mean it could, but it has to. I guess it depends, because the way I think and carry myself would be hard to adopt by many others. So I mean, you can pretend to like fake yourself out, but. It's not a joke. Like I really don't give a shit about what people think. People say that, But usually when people say that, they're like on stage, like giving a keynote presentation. That's a lie because they are deathly afraid of what people think of them.
Fact. I was curious to hear your answer, like in the back of my head, because I am that guy on stage who needs to be liked and needs to be accepted. And it's a constant battle inside of my brain. You know, when I think about the confidence thing, I too, like, man, it's like you look at someone's title and their clout, but I promise you, if any president of the United States walked in, future, past, or current, I'm not nervous. That's another human being, right? If Bill Gates walks in, that's another human being. Taylor Swift, another human being, right? Like you start naming names of people that they would get all nervous around. And I'm like, man, they had the same fears and the same anxieties and the same self-doubt and have the same quirks that the bulk of us have, because most of us are more similar than we are not, that once I could realize that was just another human, I think it made small talk that much easier and allowed me to speak with confidence and with conviction. So on to like another tip or trick that I've learned, and this is something I remember not perfecting, massaging. God, how old was my daughter? 16 years ago. 16 years ago, a buddy of mine is wicked smart, massively successful. Probably, I haven't talked to him in probably 5 years, but I'm guessing he's probably the CFO of his company at this point, you know? Small talk's not his jam, right? Like just isn't. And I remember 16 years ago, my wife and I going on a cruise with he and his wife. And he was looking at me like, dude, what's wrong with you? Hey, like in a compliment way, he's like, how do you do that? Like, how do you just talk to strangers? How do you just strike up a conversation? Well, like it starts with natural curiosity. I'm sure underlying, if John was my therapist, he'd be saying, oh, well, Dustin has all these fears and anxieties that he's masking, and he masks them by trying to become friends with everybody because deep down needs to be liked and accepted. Right? Like if we really got into it, but I pull energy from others. I pull energy from entertaining others. Like that is pretty self-serving, honestly, because it's fueling me. So I came up with these two strategies for him at the time. And I still think that they go really well. Okay. When you're having a conversation with someone and you don't know what to say, there's two things you can lean on. Oh, wow. Tell me more. Like if you could just learn how to say, oh, wow, or that's awesome, or no way, tell me more. What you're doing is giving that other person permission to keep talking. Give you permission to figure out what you need to say next because you're feeling a little bit weird and awkward and uncomfortable. Then another thing I would love for people to play with, okay? You have to massage it, right? You have to make it into your own is how do you feel about that? Oh, wow, how do you feel about that? Or how does that make you feel? Asking someone, how does that make you feel? Or how do you feel about that? It's showing them that you care. It's also 3 or 4 basic words that you can use to make sure you do less talking and they do more talking. So it's just real simple, easy to deploy. And I concocted this for one of my school, childhood
Jesus
school.
Christ.
What do you call it, John? It's not childhood.
Adolescence?
No, school. Like we went to high school and college together.
Elementary school, like a childhood buddy.
Yeah, we went to college buddy, right?
Oh, okay.
Yeah, but we were high school and college buddies.
Oh wow.
Yeah, we didn't like each other in middle school, by the way. Yeah, in middle school we weren't friends. We became friends in like 8th or 9th grade. I guess in 8th grade would be middle school. So 9th grade.
It's always cool, like when you have the people that you initially hate, but then you grow to become fond of one another.
That's why I think one day you'll like me.
So on to the next tactic on how small talk. But my question to you is like, because you are good at like remembering people's names and like actually listening to the shit that comes out of their mouth. Meaning like you'll meet that person like 4 weeks later, be like, hey, Jerry from the thing, how's your kid do? Like you'll bring up that kind of thing. Is that something that you practice or is that just like one of your traits that you have as an individual?
So truth be told, I suck at remembering names. Like I'm like, I know the whole like, hey, John, nice to meet you, John. Hey, John, where are you from, John? Hey, John, how many kids do you have, John? Like, yeah. I know there's people who do that and it's supposed to be a Jedi mind trick that works. I suck at remembering names, but I genuinely love getting to know people. Everyone has a story. Like I said this earlier in the show, everyone has a story and most people want to tell it. So let me ask you questions. This is Small Talk 101 that allow you to tell your story. And I love stories. I love a good story, and we all have one. So I genuinely love to learn a new story. And what I also love, like some people, my father, my father-in-law, probably even my son, they love how things work, machines, technologies, car engines. Like they love how things work. I love how people work. I love how businesses work. And that's boded well for me because of the industry that I chose, or maybe it chose me because of the things that interest me. So I think a lot of it is I'm genuinely interested and I love a good story. And as you tell me, I'm concocting my own story. So maybe that's my trick. Maybe that's what I should go write a best-selling book on, a how-to guide. It's how do I ask enough questions so that when John gives me piecemeal soundbite answers in my head, I'm spinning that into a story so that I can remember it. Right? It's every reason why we can recite song lyrics from 30 years ago, but I can't recite something that I read 30 days ago.
What advice do you have for those like awkward loan originators? Because they do exist, you know, the socially awkward ones.
Find your people. At the end of the day, you have to find your people. People do business with people. So if you have some quirks or your freak flag flies higher and faster than other people's freak flag, just go find more people like you, because you will attract your ideal client. Your ideal client will be attracted to people more like you and less like the others. And that's going to be by going to certain meetups. That's going to be, you know, joining certain social gatherings and going at it that way. Like even if you hated social gatherings, but you're one of those guys that's phenomenal on a headset while gaming, cool. Find a way to game where you have more adults like you and less 15-year-olds. And within that gaming community, make sure everyone knows what you do for a living. John, back on small talk. If I want you to ask me what I do for a living, do you know the number one hack for you to want to ask me what I do for a living?
I do not, Dustin.
I'm going to first start by asking you, hey, John, what do you do for a living? Like, that is small talk 101. What do you do for a living? I didn't say, where do you work, right? I didn't say, how much money do you make? I said, what do you do for a living? And John's going to give me an answer. Based on his answer, I may ask him, wow, how long have you been doing that? I may ask John as a follow-up, what made you want to enter that as a profession? Right? I'm getting to know John. My hope is that John's going to say, hey, Dustin, by the way, what do you do for a living? Oh, I help people buy houses. Yeah, I structure financing that allows people to build the most amounts of wealth in their lives through real estate. Like, that's what I do for a living. But if I want to know something, I should start by asking you. If I want you to ask me, it's I learned this one about advice. If I want you to look at me as a source of information of somebody to come to for advice, I'm going to start by handing you an olive branch, and I'm going to say I'm going to ask you for some advice first. Right? Do I really want your advice? Maybe, maybe not.
Hell no.
Do I really want your input? Maybe, maybe not. But what I want you to do is say, oh, Dustin's someone who came to me for advice. He's probably someone that I now can come to for advice. It's like I asked you for a favor, so now you feel like I owe you one. But what you don't know is my job is to give advice. And my expertise is housing, real estate, mortgage, U.S. economy, budgeting, personal finance. So I want you to get to know that about me. So if I'm engaging in small talk, start with asking them the question that you want them to ask you in return. And it might not be a true tit for tat, so you may need to have the question behind the question, which is why I just shared with you. Hey, John, what do you do for a living? Oh, man, how long have you been doing that for? I can even say, what did you do before that? Right? Because I'm looking at John. I don't know if John's 32 or 42.
I still get Carter to this day.
Okay. But if John tells me he does X, and I say to John, how long have you been doing it for? And he says the past 7 years. Hey, what'd you do before? I'm curious. I truly do want to know, but I'm curious, like what made him want to do what he does? What did he do before, and how did those two tie in together? And my ultimate hope and goal is that you're going to one day reciprocate. And that's, you start getting on that particular wavelength, and then you can just start asking questions. Like, I always love to have a good icebreaker. Like, we all can go to the Google machine right now and say, give me 10 good icebreakers for getting to know somebody. Right? So like when getting to know someone, I may literally say, what was the first concert you ever went to? Right? I'm just trying to get to know you. What's your favorite vacation? What's your dream vacation? Right? These are some icebreakers. If I'm with a bunch of dudes, I have some R-rated icebreakers that I love to throw out to let me know, engage my audience. Hey, are these dudes down to get down, or are these guys kind of a little bit fuddy-duddy? Right? Well, I have a couple go-to icebreakers that anyone's hung out with me, they know shit D.O. will say comes out.
Yeah. And
all of a sudden, based on that response, I'm like, hell yeah, I'm with the right people. Or it may be like, damn.
Yeah, probably not.
All right, it's going to be a low-key night.
Yeah.
We're going to have a good time.
Yeah.
Right? We're going to maybe sip on some beverages, and we're going to talk about our kids and how much we love our wives
disgusting.
and, how much we can't wait to.
So fake. That's why I don't like small talk, because it's fake, Dustin.
So, and let's end on this. Let's end on this last tip. Be vulnerable. Be vulnerable. You heard it from John Coleman first, right? He said small talk is fake. I'm going to tell you small talk is fake because people won't be vulnerable. If you want to truly get someone to like you, to trust you, it's because you showed them a piece of you that they feel like is special, right? Me being vulnerable, me being willing to talk about my quirks, my mistakes, my fears, my anxieties, some life experiences that don't highlight all the good parts, that highlight that I too am human. I think that's when small talk goes to the next level. And now we start actually building a bond is the minute we start doing that. So I would volunteer information. I would encourage y'all to volunteer information. Like, not enough that you're going to like totally throw your spouse or significant other or your closest friends under the bus, right? Because there's a certain amount of like, hey, I owe it to that other person not to divulge certain things that may be private to them, even though they're less private to me. And have you noticed, I'm speaking from experience right now. I am that guy that can keep a secret. You just got to tell me it's a secret sometimes. Right? Yeah, because I'm an open book. Anyone who knows me, that's a flaw, and it's a strength, is my ability and my willingness to share. But if anyone's going to get the TMI card, pulled on them like it's a red card, it's going to be this guy, right? And that's great if I'm just sharing something about me. But the minute it involves other people, then it's not fair to them. But I would encourage each and every one of you, if you're trying to truly get good at communication and building relationships and engaging in small talk and taking small talk to the next level, be open, be honest, and be vulnerable with your counterparty. And then if you do it first, what you'll notice is they'll reciprocate. So I think that's a good stopping point for this.
Well said, Dustin.
Yeah, it's a good stopping point. It's just to show that, look, this platform, this media outlet, this TLOP thing that we've been doing now for 4 going on 5 years, like this truly is the shit they don't teach in school. It is a little bit of Joe Rogan meets Dave Ramsey and they have a baby. We love doing this. And if you love us doing this and you want us to keep doing it, all we ask you to do is share this content. Follow us on Instagram, on Facebook at the Loan Officer Podcast. Connect with me on LinkedIn, first name Dustin, last name Owen. Subscribe to our YouTube channel. Sign up for the newsletter, but only if you're a mortgage professional. If you're not a mortgage professional, you probably won't enjoy the newsletter, but go to our website, tloponline.com. That's where you can sign up for the newsletter. It's free. And then obviously, if you are a mortgage sales professional looking for business coaching and sales training, because you recognized nothing changes if nothing changes, you are the company you keep, and iron sharpens iron, and you better be keeping better company and hanging out with some sharper pieces of iron. Come join this coaching community. Let me and my 5 coaches invest in you and your future success. On that note, his name is John Coleman. My name is Dustin Owen. You've just tuned in to the Loan Officer Podcast. That is all the time we have for you today, but we do look forward to catching you at one of the many events we're going to be attending and participating in over the next 4 to 6 months. Peace.